second canto, 5th chapter, beginning from verse number 37. Lord Brahma, he is continuing to answer to the question of Sri Narada, which was related about universe, its creation, support and maintenance. So after explaining how it is created by the Lord, and he explained the various elements, how they manifested from Prakriti, and then the senses, the ego, etc. And then the universal egg was formed, but it did not come into life unless Lord entered it. So then the Lord, he existed inside and outside the universe because he created it, he entered into it, and he also came out of the egg. And now he explains that the various planetary systems, they are imagined in this egg, the universal egg, as the form of the Lord. As we read in the first chapter of this canto, where Sukadeva Goswami was describing how to meditate on the gross form of the Lord in this universe. So similar explanation is also given by Brahma, because this is the first type of meditation for a beginner. So first he says that Yasya Havyavai Lokan Kalpayanti Manishina Katyadibhi Radha Sapta Saptordhvam Jaganadhibi. That the learned, they imagine the body of the Lord in this universe, the different planetary systems representing his different limbs, and the 7 planetary systems below the hips, they are imagined below the hip and the 7 above. So this description came earlier, and then he will give the planets in the upcoming verses. And then he talks about the human beings, the divisions, the 4 divisions. He says, Purushasya mukham brahma kshatram etasya bahavaha urva vaishya bhagavatah padvyam sudra bhajayata. That the Brahmana represents the mouth of this Purusha, the Supreme Person. Kshatriya represent the arms, and the Vaishyas, they came out from the thighs, and Shudra from the feet. So this system, Varnashram system, this is one of the one of the systems described in the Vedas and Vedic literature everywhere. We read the Puranas, or Itihasa, or the Rig Veda also, and the Smritis, because the society needed to be arranged, and it has a purpose, and the purpose are basically 2. That is material enjoyment and then liberation. This material world is designed like that, because people who are conditioned in this material world, they have material desires, and they have to be given some facility to satisfy those desires. But the desires cannot be satisfied completely. So then, how to become free from this and become fully satisfied, that is the path of spirituality. So both descriptions are given how one can engage oneself and satisfy one's material desires. And we read that earlier. Sukadeva Goswami described the different types of worships of Brahma, Indra, Durga, Shiva, and so on. And then ultimate worship is of Krishna, so that one can become free from the conditioning. So everywhere there is need for society to make some arrangement so that people can live together. The Vedic society was arranged for a higher purpose, and the purpose is that one should not simply remain existing eternally in this material world. So, with that goal in mind, these 4 divisions of Varna and Ashrama were given. Varna is for the social arrangement and social upliftment, and Ashrama is for the individual progress. Although they are related, because society is also made of individuals, and if an individual progresses, then the whole society progresses. But an individual should live in a society in such a manner that he can also contribute and assist others, and also make progress himself or herself. So this is how the arrangement was made. And as we have been reading, that there are 3 modes of Prakriti: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And all the creation at the material level happens because the soul is not created on the basis of these 3 modes. The time it activates the modes, and then obviously the creation cannot happen without a conscious being participating in it. So then there is Jiva, and there is Supreme Lord who is supervising it. So Jiva, because he is existing here anadi, without any beginning, he has his own karma and acquired swabhava or nature, particular nature, and this acquired nature is coming from the modes, from the combination of the modes. So these 4 are the major combinations in these 3 modes. Because sattva, whenever these 3 things they combine, one of them is predominant, other one is complementary, and one is dormant, means less active. These are the 3 ways they exist. And since modes are always together, so sometimes there is sattva which is predominant, and rajas is complementary, and tamas is dormant. So that is Brahmana. That is the definition of a Brahmana. And then if rajas is predominant and sattva is complementary and tamas is dormant, that is Kshatriya. So therefore Kshatriya is given the job of managing, because that needs rajas, and Brahmana is given the job of studying the scriptures and giving knowledge. So that sattva is necessary. And then we have Vaishya, where rajas is predominant, tamas is complementary, and sattva is dormant. So that is Vaishya. He is interested, more attached to matter. As the predominance of lower modes come, the attachment to matter is more. And then the 4th category is of Shudra, where tamas is predominant and rajas is, in the previous one it was sattva, and in this it is rajas, and then tamas, this sattva is dormant. And because tamas and sattva, they cannot be complementary to each other, because their natures are completely opposite. So therefore there cannot be 5 combinations. There should have been 5 actually combinations, but there are only 4, because sattva and tamas, they cannot be together. One is like light and the other one is ignorance. So it's a mode of goodness and mode of ignorance. So they cannot be complementary to each other. And thus there are 4 major divisions. And then there are further mixtures. But these are the 4 prominent dispositions which are found in the society. And they cannot be avoided because they are coming from very modes of nature. So here it is described that these four things, they come from the body of the Lord, from his mouth, and mouth does the function of speaking, which means transfer of knowledge. So therefore Brahmana's main duty is to give knowledge, study the scripture and give knowledge. For that reason Brahma has 4 heads, so that he could teach 4 Vedas. Means he is doing his function more than anyone else. Simultaneously he can teach. So traditionally, and also in Bhagavad Gita or Smritis, the duties of Brahmanas therefore were defined like that. Patam Patam means they have to study and teach. This is the main duty of a Brahmana. And then all this society could function as it was designed by the God, which means that it could aim towards spirituality, towards devotion. So if this is not happening, then the society goes into turmoil. And that is the situation at present, because there are no Brahmanas. Originally it was not by birth, it was by function, by the qualities. But to organize the society, it is also difficult just how to decide whether somebody is a Brahman, Kshatriya or Vaishya. So for organization's sake, then it was made on the basis of birth. But along with the birth, one also has to acquire the qualities which are prescribed. So Krishna says Guna Karma Vibhagasha, that he made the divisions according to the Guna, which means according to the modes. The Guna refers here to the modes of nature. And then correspondingly there are duties associated with them. So this was the basis. But just making division is not enough. One also has to train accordingly. For that, the education was propagated by the sages. So that's how Varnashram system was established to begin with. But then many deviations came, and then it fell apart. So the purpose of explaining all this is that Lord is the source of everybody. Because when the book was written, then these 4 divisions were existing. And therefore the meaning behind it is that we should know that we have appeared from the Lord, and therefore it is our duty to worship Him. Otherwise, we fall down from our position, whatever position we have in the Varnashram system. So, na bhajanti avjananti sthanat bhrishta patanti. That if one does not worship the Lord, either due to ignorance or out of disregard, then one will become degraded. Whatever good piety one has earned, it will be lost. So that is the meaning behind this description. Otherwise there is no point in telling that Brahmanas are born from mouth and they are born from hands and so on. So in the 11th canto also this is described, that the purpose of Varnashrama is to worship the Lord. Varnashrama acharvate purushena puman Vishnu aradhate pantha nanyat tattosha karaka. And it is designed for the worship of Lord Vishnu. And then of course we have Vaishnava Dharma, which is predominantly for the worship of the Lord. In Varnashrama there may be direct worship, indirect worship, sacrifices, but in Vaishnava Dharma it has been defined more clearly that the purpose is only to worship the Lord directly, and there are no other duties or functions of anything. But when one is not situated on that level, or one does not have the knowledge, then at least one should follow the Varnashram and thus worship the Lord by performing one's duties. So here only the Varnas have been mentioned, but there are also ashramas, and ashrama is for the individual. Means one has to be a student, study, then householder life, then vanprastha and sannyas. So that is the plan how an individual person has to progress in one's life and then ultimately renounce everything and dedicate one's life for the service of the Lord. So ashrama means that one has to earn this by performing shrama, which means labor. So now we think that ashram means you go and live there peacefully and you have no duties, but actually the meaning of the word ashrama means that where you come and perform service. That is the original meaning. So whether it was brahmacharya ashram or grihastha ashram or vanprastha ashram, it had its purpose. And when previously one ashram system was there, then there were no ashrams like this what we have now. Whatever ashrams you see now in Vrindavan or in holy places, they did not exist 50, 60 or 100 years ago. Why? Because the house itself was an ashram. A person was always in some ashram. But as that ashram system broke, then these ashrams came. But we must know the purpose behind them. And they are meant for the service of the Lord. So therefore he says that Purushasya mukham brahma kshatram etasya bhava urvo vaishyo bhagavata padbhyam sudro bhejaya. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, he comments, there is not much commentary on them. Says यह ब्रह्मांड अभ्यंतर यस्य गुणमय रूपस्य अवयवीर लोकान कल्पयन्ति स लोकमय है पुमान विराट पुरुष इति षष्ठ श्लोकस्थेन अन्वय. So he says that in this Brahmanda, the universal egg, the various limbs of Lord's body, they are imagined, and therefore he is called Virat Purusha, or the universal person, whose body is made of the various planets, which is described here in the upcoming verses. Katiriti uru mulyo paschad bhave. So Kati is this middle part of the body, where the thighs end, and Jaghana puro bhava, and Jaghana is called the above part. So the 7 planetary systems, they are imagined below the belt, and 7 above. Adha saptalokan ataladin urdhva bhuradin. So atal, vital, sutal, talatal, manatal, patal, etc. They are imagined below, in the lower part of the body, and bhu, bhuvar, swar, mahajan, tap, and brahmaloka, they are imagined on the upper part. Prasangena varnanam parmeshwarad utpatti maha. And then incidentally he is also explaining the birth of the Varnas from the Lord. Because these planets, they are existing and they have no meaning without human beings. This whole creation of the Lord is meaningful only because of the human beings. If you take out the humanity out of the universe, then it has no meaning basically, because the purpose is to understand the Lord and only human beings can know Him. So therefore human life is very precious, important. It has a very pristine goal. So for that reason the description of Varna is also given. And if one does not understand this, then one is not cooperating with the scheme of the creation. The Lord has created this universe and made the human body so that people can understand Him. Brahma Brahmano Mukhamiti Kare Karnyor Abhed Vivakshe Yuktam. So in the verse it is said that Brahman is the mouth of the Lord. So he comments that what it means is that he appears from the mouth, not that he is the mouth. Although sometimes he is also considered as a mouth, and therefore whenever any sacrifice is performed, then you have to feed the Brahmanas. And Brahmana is considered as the mouth of the Lord. So if you feed him, then it is as if Lord is eating. And it is mentioned also in Bhagavatam, in 7th Canto, that Lord becomes pleased when Brahmanas are fed, because then he feels satisfied. So with that intention it is said here that Brahmanas are the mouth. Kshatram Kshatriya, Kshatram means the Kshatriyas. Brahmanasya mukham asid bahu rajanyakrita iti sute. So there is also corresponding mantra in the Rig Veda which is mentioned here, that Purushukta, which you might have heard. It's very famous. So there also it is mentioned that Brahmana is the mouth of the Lord and Kshatriyas are the arms. So after that, the planetary systems are described. So is Bhurlok hai kalpita padbhyam bhuvarloko sinabhita hridaya swarloke ursa meherloko mahatmana. So that Bhurloka starts from the feet onwards and Bhuvarloka from the navel onwards, and the heart is the Swarloka and the chest is the Maharloka. So there are two different descriptions given here. One is that the Bhur, Bhuvar, Swar, etc. is starting from the feet, and the other one he will explain that the feet are talking about the Patal. So this is one description which is given here. Grivayam janlokascha tapolokos tandvayat murdhvi satyalokastu brahmaloka sanatana. And the neck of the Lord is Janaloka, and Tapoloka is the breast, and head is the Satyaloka, and beyond this is the abode of the Lord himself, which is Sanatana, eternal, not material. Tatkatyam cha atalam kliptam urubhyam vitalam vibhoho janubhyam sutulam shuddham jangabhyam tu talatalam mahatalam tu gulfabhyam prapadabhyam rasatalam patalam padatalata iti lokmaya. Then says that in the kati area, the hip area is the atala, and urubhyam, the thighs are the vitala, and then janu is the knees is the sutala, and jangha, the shanks are the talatala, and then mahatala, below that gulf is mahatala, and prapada, the toes of the feet, they are the rasatala, and patal is the soles of Lord's feet. So this is how the Lord is imagined according to the various planetary systems. And then again he repeats this verse, Bhurloka kalpita padbhyam bhuvarlokasya nabhita Swarloka kalpito murdhana iti va loka kalpana. So sometimes in the Upanishads and in the Vedas there are only three divisions. As you may know, in Gayatri they have Bhur, Bhuvar, Swa. So then it is called Triloka or three planetary systems. In that case, Bhu is considered as the lower planetary system up to the navel, and Bhuvar is above the navel up to the breast, and above that is the Swarloka. So this is one way of imagining the Lord's body in this universe, and the other one is you start from the sole of the feet as Patal, then Rasatal, Mahatal, then Talatal, Sutal, Vital and Atal. And these are the 7 lower planetary systems. And then from navel onwards, we have Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Swarloka, Janloka, Taploka, Maharloka, and Satyaloka. And outside is the Brahmaloka. So this is how the universe is divided. इदानीं उपासनार्थं लोक कल्पना भेदात् दर्शयन् सप्तलोक पक्षम आह द्वाभ्याम भूर्लोक. So now he says that for the purpose of worship of the Lord, these divisions are described where 7 planetary systems are shown, beginning with Bhurloka. Patalam arabhya padbhyam kati paryantabhyam, beginning from Patal up to the kati or the hips. These are the lower 7 planetary systems. Standvayat iti upasnarthatvat urdhva-adho bhavya pritya na dosha. Yadva stanat sabdam kurvat yat oshtadhvayam tasmat. So in this description, it is not completely in order, because sometimes it goes up and then down. In the sloka it said that Grivayam Janalokasya Tapoloka Stanadvayat. First he said that Janaloka is in the neck region, and the 2 breasts are the Tapaloka. So although he was going from down upwards, but he changed the order here. So he said it doesn't matter, because it is for the purpose of worship, how one has to meditate. So one should understand and then meditate. Or he gives another meaning of the word stana. Generally the word stana refers to the breast, but there is also one root in Sanskrit where stana means to make sound. And therefore it says that stanadvaya here means the lips. And thus the planet Tapaloka is not in the breast area but in the lip area, which is above the neck. So then according to him there is no disorder in the description. It is going from below to up. Satyaloka Saptama. And the 7th planetary upper planet system is Satyaloka, which belongs to Brahma. Tadupari Brahmano Bhagavato Loka Vaikuntha. And above that is the planet of the Lord, which is called Vaikuntha. Now this Vaikuntha, although Vaikuntha is outside the material creation, but there is also Vaikuntha inside the material world. Because one may ask the question that why Vaikuntha is being described here, because this is a description within the universal egg. So inside this universal egg also there is Vaikuntha, which is sometimes called Swet Dweep, and it is somewhere towards the northeastern direction of the universe, up. So that planet, although it is within the universe, it is considered as Sanatan or eternal. It is not dissolved when the universe is dissolved. So for that reason he says that this is the planet of the Lord. Satu viradangatvena na dhyaya yatah sanatana. So he says that this Brahmaloka, which is described here, it should not be meditated upon as part of the cosmic body or part of the universe. And the reason for that is that it is eternal, because universe itself is temporary, so it cannot have one of its part as eternal. Then why it is described inside? So it says Anda Madhyavartitvapi Sanatana Bhagavan Nitya. So just as the Lord also exists inside the universe, but because He is inside the universe, He does not become material or temporary. So similarly, His planet can also exist inside the universe, but that does not make it as part of the universe. Because Lord, He is independent and He is always situated in His own glory. He does not take help from anything else. That was stated in the very first verse of Bhagavatam, that He is Swarat. And in the Upanishad it is said, Sa Bhagavaha Kutra Sthita and Swamahimni. Where is that Lord situated? He is situated in His own glory. So although He comes in this universe, He is situated in His own planet. And therefore this planet, although within the universe, is not to be considered as part of it. Chaturdas Lokapaksham Darshayati. So this first description is when you consider that the whole universe is having 7 planetary systems, beginning with Bhu, Bhu, Swa, and Mahar, Jan, Tap, Satya. So that it makes 7. And the other description is when you consider that there are 14 planetary systems. So basically there are 3 descriptions. Sometimes they describe only 3 divisions, Bhu, Swa. Sometimes 7 and sometimes 14. So here these 2 are described by Brahma, 7, and the other one is the 14 one. So first he described the 7 categories or 7 divisions, and then he describes the 14. Tatra Jagnadibhir Bhuradaya Purvokta eva sapta Katyadibhir adha Sattulokana tata Katyamiti Dvabhyam. So he says that those 7 which were described before, they remain same. Then 7 more are added and they start below the hips of the Lord, as they have been stated in these 2 verses. Shuddham Prahlad Bali Prabhriti Hari Bhakta Nivasatvat. In this description, the planet Sutala has been qualified by the word Shuddham, means the pure Sutala planet. So why Sutala is called pure and none of the other planets were called as pure? He says because there are devotees like Prahlad who live in Sutala. We know that Prahlad was born in a Devaniya family, son of Hiranyakashipu, and he is living in Sutala planet. He is not living in the upper planet. It is only Bali Maharaj who was attacking the heaven and trying to be in the position of Indra. And actually they are living in the lower planetary system. And although they are living in the lower planetary system, this planet is called pure because of Prahlad and Bali both being devotees. So therefore he says Hari Bhakta Nivasatvat. And because the devotees of Lord Hari live there permanently, and this planet is called pure. And although it is not mentioned here, but actually Lord himself is living there. Because we know that Lord Vaman Dev, he became doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. After Bali gave the whole planetary system to Lord Vaman Dev, and Vaman became Trivikram, and then he bound Bali. Then afterward he released him and he gave him the position of his kingdom, except that he could not go to the heaven anymore, and he said that you will become Indra in your next life. But then Bali Maharaj, he was also blessed by Vaman Dev that he will always stand on the gate of Bali as a guard. So, of course, people think that this is a great boon for Bali, that Lord himself is protecting him. But when Bali was praised like this, Bali said that actually he is not standing there to protect me, he is standing there to make sure that I don't go out again and attack Indra, who is his brother. Says, Lord is very clever. He has already cheated me once. And now he is showing as if he is there to bless me. But this is his real intention. He stands there with the club all the time. So for this reason, Sutala is called Shuddha or pure or purified place, because the devotees and Lord, they are living there. Then Triloka Pakshamaha Bhurloka Pataladi Sahita. And now in the last verse of this chapter, again the one more system is defined where there are only three planetary systems, Bhur, Bhur and Swar. So these are the three ways of meditating on the universe as the form of Lord, as Virat Purusha. Whether you imagine the 7 planetary systems or 14 or 3. So this is the end of 5th chapter of 2nd Canto. So this chapter, it started with the questions raised by Narada. And basically he has raised 2 types of questions. One type of question was related with creation, and it is a very important question, and we all have this question. Even children have this question, from where he has come, from where he has been born. So we always want to know about our source, and the scriptures give this knowledge about the source of not just beings in this universe but also of the universe. And the knowledge is given so that we can have faith in God and become surrendered to Him. Because as we have been reading, that purpose of the Vedas, purpose of the scriptures is to bring us to the level of devotion. And for that we have to know who is the Lord. So it starts with this explanation of the universe. So his major question was about the universe, and how is universe coming into existence, to what it is devoted, what is supporting it, and what infuses it, and how you have created it. All these questions, but all related with the universe. And the other question was that who is actually the Supreme Person? Because he said that he does not see anyone else other than Brahma as supreme, yet he had a doubt in his mind that why Brahma engaged in austerities before creation. So these were basically 2 questions, and Brahma answered the second question first, because he did not want Narada to have any confusion about him being the supreme. So very humbly he said that he is nobody, he is just empowered by the Lord to do this work. Otherwise, he says, those who are bewildered by Lord's Maya, they think that he is supreme, he is Jagadguru. So this misunderstanding was removed by Brahma, and which is also very important, because if we have to be devotees, then we must be clear who is God, and not that there are many gods, not everybody is God. These types of confusions are very much common in people. So for that reason this question was asked, and Brahma makes it very clear, and he points out who is God, and that is Krishna. And after that he speaks about creation, and even while speaking about creation he makes one point very clear, that there is nothing but Lord who is existing in all these forms, whether it is Kala or Karma or Swabhava or Jiva or Brahmanda or anything, it is all He who is existing like this. So then he gives the whole description how creation occurs. So basically there are three factors which are involved in creation, and that is time factor and swabhav, or the inherent nature or disposition of things, as well as the nature acquired by every living entity which are lying dormant in the dawn of creation, and the karma of the living entity. So according to the mixture or the influence of these three things, then there is creation of time itself, which appears in many ways, and the inert matter, where there is only influence of time and its nature, and the living entity, where the third factor comes into play prominently, that is karma factor. So with the combination of these three, there is modifications in matter, which also has three divisions or three constituents, sattva, rajas and tamas. So these three things acting on the three modes of nature. The time, it creates agitation in the modes, makes imbalance, and then various elements come into existence. The first element is Mahatattva, which is the intelligent element. It has the intelligence in it. That's why you see that even plants, they have the intelligence how to grow. If there is some obstruction comes to it, then it will try to evade it. So from where is this knowledge coming? From the Mahatattva. So the knowledge to survive, to exist in this material world, is available in the matter itself, Mahatattva. But the knowledge how to get out from it, that comes only from Shastra. That is not known. So materialistic people can have great intelligence. They can understand things very nicely, figure out how to create things, discover the laws of nature, and make great arrangements to live here, but they can never figure out how to get out of this universal act. That knowledge is not there in Mahatattva. So that is the first element. And then intelligence itself is not sufficient. Because even if you have intelligence or you have knowledge, you cannot function unless you have the ego. So the next thing which comes into existence is the ego. Your own individual identity and the feeling. Then only you can perform action. And then when you want to perform action, for that you need matter. So ego gets divided into three. In the mode of tamas, all the material elements come into existence. From the mode of rajas, then you need senses, two types, cognitive senses and working senses. And you also need mind, which is in the mode of goodness, to think and plan. So that makes the whole material world complete. But then in the end he describes the universe again with the intention of meditation. He did not say that now it is there, now you enjoy it. So Brahma gave the description of all these planetary systems, how you should meditate on this as the form of the Lord. So then don't misuse it, don't exploit it just for your own sake, but worship it and make your life perfect. That is the end of this chapter. And in the 6th chapter, Brahma will continue speaking about many more things, because creation has a lot of things, and since he is the first creator, Prajapati, he gives many more details of this that we will read in the next class. Tomorrow is Ashtami, so there is no class tomorrow. I'll stop here.
What if somebody has been close to Krishna in a previous life, then in our next